Good afternoon, everyone. Today is September 14th, 2023, and this is Conversations from Stritch. I'm Dave Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined, as always, by Dr. Christopher Sent, our provost. Third week of the fall semester. It's amazing to me how quickly things go by, and the campus is full of activities. We have so much going on. Hard to believe. We'll talk more about some other events going on campus in a little bit. I do want to say that we are looking forward to Campus Visit Day this weekend, September 16th. Campus Visit Days are an opportunity for prospective students and their families to learn more about Lewis, meet professors, tour the campus, learn financial aid information, scholarship opportunities. And I guess I just want to say to those watching, if you have a cousin, a nephew, a friend who might want to come, if they haven't signed up now, they might be a little too late, but on October 14th, we have another one. So the other thing I'll say is for our community on campus, it's our opportunity to put our best foot forward. So friendliness, inviting, everybody can give people the best look because we're excited to have everybody on campus and welcome them to Lewis. The St. Augustine merger continues to progress. We've talked about that on this show before. And on Monday and Tuesday of next week, the 18th and 19th, the Higher Learning Commission will visit. They'll visit Romeoville campus here on the 18th, and then we'll be in Uptown on the Argyle Street St. Augustine campus on the 19th. The HLC will vote on the merger in early November at their meeting, and we should be one organization on December 1st of this year. There are further phases that will follow after that. It has to go to Washington, D.C. with the Department of Ed. There are open sessions, and this is really the emphasis of this, on Monday for faculty and staff and students with the HLC team. So please check your email regarding the details of those open sessions. They want to hear from our community about views of the merger, and we want to make sure that people are there so that they can talk to people across the spectrum of all the constituencies. I will say that this afternoon we have a couple events that are happening. We have the kickoff event for South Hall, major renovation happening at South Hall that will start quote unquote start today. It's a renovation of the lower level to create a home for physical therapy program, which will start in January of 2025. As all of you know, because those of you that applied, oftentimes people are looking at school a year ahead of time. So we're trying to get this lab done so that when people visit who want to be here, that it's done later this spring. It should be completed really by June, but we'll be able to show off some pieces of it next spring. There'll be a large lecture hall added, upgrades to the lobby, faculty lounge areas, so a lot going on behind the walls that people will see today. The other thing this afternoon is that Dr. Leroy Butler, we're really disappointed, but so proud of him that he is leaving Lewis University. He's going to become the CIO, the same role he's in here at Loyola University. So anybody that wants to wish him well this afternoon in the Sun Room in Stritch Hall, please join us. I think that runs from 3 to 5, but I could be a little wrong on that, but I think 3 to 5. Last little thing on my list is a reminder that our annual Signum Fidei event will take place at the House of Blues on Saturday, October 21st. I'm really excited about this. Last year was so fun. There'll be music and dancing, food and drinks, and really importantly, raising money for the Lewis University Mission Fund, which helps our most vulnerable students at their greatest time of need. We are excited this year to honor Mary DeGraw, who has been really influential in that Mission Fund and helping students out over her multi-decade career at Lewis. Please register for Signum Fidei. You can find it on our website at lewisu.edu. And there are lots of opportunities to participate, come downtown Chicago, go to the House of Blues, listen to some music, and donate to our students. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chris Sent to talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that's been going on in terms of faculty and student success.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I really love fall here. It's so totally great.
It's great.
It's a beautiful day on this campus and so much to see here and so much activity going on. So I'm also super excited about the Signum Fidei events. It's actually pretty soon now. Getting ready to party there. So the Lewis University History Center and the Gaylord Building Historic Site are hosting Place and the Environment Symposium today. It's already begun. I went to the first event this morning. It was so interesting and compelling. The event features speakers who illuminate the history of our shared landscape, from indigenous peoples, prairie restoration, and the anniversary, I'm blanking now. I think it's the 150th anniversary of the I&M Canal. Does that make sense?
I think it is.
The event is free and open to the public until 3 o'clock, I believe. There have been 2 of 4 presentations already. The next one starts at 12:45, and then there's another one later this afternoon at 2 o'clock. So go on down to St. Charles Borromeo Convocation Hall and check that all-day event out. It's really exciting to see it happening at Lewis. Lewis University was recently recognized as the highest-ranking private master's level university in Illinois in Washington Monthly 2023 Masters University Rankings. The publication analyzes 4-year liberal arts institutions based on their contribution to the public good in 3 broad categories: social mobility, research, and promoting public service. Colleges appearing on the Washington Monthly's lists serve low-income students and national public interests. So we talk about this a lot. We don't talk about rankings all the time. We know that it's somewhat controversial, but that particular list pretty much agree with those criteria that they stress in their rankings, and so we're really proud to be very high based on those rankings of public service, research, and social mobility of students. I want to congratulate Dr. Adrian Honold, Assistant Professor of Music, who presented a paper at the International Conference on Women's Work in Music, hosted by Bangor University in Wales on September 5th. The presentation featured an overview of topics related to Elise Hall, a pioneering saxophonist, patron, and impresario who was integral to the early history of the saxophone. Dr. Honold and Dr. Kurt Bertels recently co-edited a book about her called The Legacy of Elise Hall, Contemporary Perspectives on Gender and the Saxophone, which will be published in March. I'm really excited to see that book when it comes out. Congratulations to Dr. Dennis Kremen, Professor of History, who discussed the newly published paperback edition of his great book, Grant Park, The Evolution of Chicago Yard, on September 10th at the Southern Illinois University Press booth at Chicago's Printers Row Lit Festival. Congratulations to Dr. Tennille Allen, Chair and Professor of Sociology, whose article, Listening for the Interior in Hip Hop and R&B Music, originally published in the book Sociology of Race and Ethnicity, and co-written by Antonia Randolph, is being reprinted in another anthology called That's the Joint, the Hip Hop Studies Reader. In addition, Dr. Allen was named to a second 3-year term on the editorial board of Teaching Sociology, a pedagogy journal published by the American Sociological Association. Last week, I talked a bit about the upcoming book to be published by Dr. Jamil Mustafa called The Blaxploitation Horror Film. Dr. Mustafa, Professor of English Studies, will give a talk on that same topic at noon on September 27th in Convocation Hall as part of the Arts and Ideas series. And then Lewis University is hosting an art exhibit by artist Greg Booker. I don't know if you've seen this yet.
I have not.
It's been in there a few weeks now, a couple weeks. It's really interesting. It's like photographs, very large photographs of the Southwest.
I have the postcard in my office, but I have not been over to the gallery.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
It looks cool.
And really, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a lot in the news about water in the Southwest. And yes. It's interesting. I think it's a coincidence, of course, but to be reading about that and then looking at these pictures of the desert is really interesting. So that's been up. Please check it out. I think it's through September 21st. And on September 21st, Greg Booker will be at Wadsworth Gallery giving a talk along with the closing reception from 7 to 9 p.m. So, more events.
More events. And I just want to say, Adrian, this is tying two pieces together. Adrian, who was honored through her scholarship, but she also, with her husband, did a cameo saxophone appearance at Signum Fidei last year on stage.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was just a fun, kind of just as all these things run through my head. So events coming up this week. September 14th, 2 to 5, flu and COVID clinic. I think many people have seen in the news recently that the new COVID boosters are out, and so you can get your flu shot and your COVID booster coming up. Also on September 14th, in the exercise studio, the Flyerettes are having their yearly tryouts. So if you want to join the Flyerettes, September 19th, 2 to 3, Arts and Ideas, which is our kind of overall cultural lectures, etc. That series, the Kushnama, the Persian epic of the Kush and Tusked. And then on September 19th from 3:30 to 4:30, also the Student Wellness Center will have coffee and conversation. September 19th, also in Harold White, Women in Aviation will have their meeting, and the Black Student Union Social on the 19th from 4 to 6. We also have Mass of the Holy Spirit. It's an event for everybody. It's an extended community hour. We invite the entire community to please join us for the Mass of the Holy Spirit over in St. Charles Borromeo in Convocation Hall. So a couple other things in terms of events for sports. And I just got through, there's so many events going on every day, but sports events coming up. Men's golf, they finished 6th in the Glenmore Fall Classic in Canton, Ohio. And then women's volleyball is going to be in Pensacola, Florida, with 4 contests scheduled for Friday and Saturday. The men's and women's cross country team are competing at Notre Dame at the National Catholic Invite. I know that's always a big event for them. They so look forward to being on the stage with some of the best Catholic schools, D1, D2, D3, all in the same weekend. Men's and women's soccer travel to Drury and Southwest Baptist this weekend. Women's tennis is traveling to Indianapolis for the Intercollegiate Tennis Association tournament. There's just so much athletics going on. It's really incredible. So now, in addition to all these activities, we have some special guests today that you're going to introduce, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's really exciting. We have, I think, a record number of guests today. So thank you to our producers for making it all work. Before I introduce them, I'd like to remind everyone that if you have questions for us or for our guests, you can email askus@lewis.edu, and we will get the message or get the question asked during the show if we get it in time, and if not, or if you're watching this recorded version of this, please also feel free to use that email, and we can get the question answered and direct it to the right person who will know how to talk about the answer. So I'm going to introduce 4 people pretty quickly, and then we'll get to talking. So to start with, Liseth Chavez is here. She started her career at Lewis University 15 years ago in admissions and has always been led by her commitment to enriching students' lives. She now serves as the Assistant Director of Advising alongside Stephanie Enervold Macier. I'm really excited that Liseth has taken this new role, and she's brought with her today 3 other student success coaches. And they are Elizabeth Japczyk Schuler, John Tuzim, and Zachary Jarosz. Yeah? All right. Oh, gosh, this is hard. So welcome, everybody. Great to see you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now everyone's looking at all 6 of us.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I've never set this close.
No, I know, we don't usually.
Before. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
We're a little
Yeah, so thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it and appreciate the work. We're just excited with this new program, which started this summer. Many of you, not Liseth, but were hired this summer. So glad to have you.
So we're going to start maybe with asking you, Liseth, a little bit
Yes.
about the Flyer Success Network and how it works. And I think we have some slides to look at. And even
Yes.
beginning that, I think we have a slide about the Lewis experience maybe that we'll see that will help us lead into this discussion. So this is the way we often talk now about the more holistic support structure for our Lewis undergraduate students. And you can see it's a combination of 5 different interlocking factors that are all identified with single words, but they include the curriculum, which is represented by the word explore, the experiential learning represented by connect, discover, which is about students finding their passion and their vocation through various different programs on campus, engage, which is about connecting to all of the opportunities, that big long list of stuff we just read off about things that are happening on campus, and then succeed, which is maybe the core of the Flyer Success Network, although I want to talk about how it kind of bleeds into other areas around the wheel of the Lewis experience. And now I'll turn things over to you, Liseth,
Yes.
to talk about the Flyer Success Network.
Yes, so the idea is that college is an amazing, exciting experience for a lot of our students, but they also come here having to make a lot of different choices. So the main idea is for them to have someone that is helping them navigate their whole college experience, as well as having the success coaches on one end, and then the faculty mentors as well, helping them connect and bridge them to people in their field of discipline and helping them see themselves in their field of discipline as well.
Great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So maybe we could start and we could go around and get a sense, like, what led each of you as that are in these new roles to want to apply to this? Like, and maybe a little, like, what was your background, and then what led you either back? I know some of you are coming back to Lewis, or led you to Lewis to say, this is the kind of job I'd want. So I don't know. Let's start with you, Elizabeth.
Sure. Well, previously, before this position, I was working as a psychology instructor in a rural community college in North Carolina. And it was a great experience, but there are some things that I won't get into the weeds about with rural schools and resources. So I wore many hats, I'll say it that way, but I was also the coordinator of my department. I oversaw the Spanish interpreter program. So a lot was going on, and on top of having a large advising load, and I loved teaching, and I just loved connecting with the students. And Lewis is where I gathered my love of education, and I had a lot of mentors here, and that meant a lot to me. So I was looking for an opportunity to come back, and once I saw the position open up, I was like, I can do this. I love to do this, and I would love to do it at Lewis, basically to give the students, a bit of what I had and maybe then some.
Yeah, that's awesome, Elizabeth. Zachary, what about you?
Yeah, so previously I've worked in higher ed and college athletics now for a little over a decade, and as a former student athlete, I can share that experience with the student athletes. I work with student athletes and the athletic teams here, so I have understood what they have gone through and what they have to go through on a consistent basis, not just to succeed academically, but to succeed athletically. And so as a former student athlete, as a former athletic coach in college, and then working in student athlete services, I knew that this position and this role was kind of just the fit for me. I was very familiar with Lewis. I played against Lewis many times and coached against Lewis many times. And I was always impressed by the caliber of students and student athletes that we now produce. And so I was very excited about this role. I started in April and then learned in my first couple weeks and months of these new success coaches and kind of what that relationship is going to look like. And I was just super excited for all of our students, not just our student athletes, but all of our students, and the ample support now that they're going to have in their journeys here.
Yeah, that's awesome. John, how about you?
So like Elizabeth and a couple of our other coaches, I'm a Lewis alum too, and I always said if I had the chance to come back, I would. So after graduation, I was teaching theology first at the middle school level and then at the high school level.
So awesome, that's my background.
Yes, I know, that's awesome.
Love that. Go ahead. Sean, sorry.
No, that's okay. And so I was always from graduation on a faith-based educational setting. So that's what Lewis is. And because I'm an alum, it just seemed like that combined with my alumni status was a perfect fit. And I'm happy
So,
to be back.
Liseth, could you just, I know you're going to, you talked a little bit about this, but can you give me the scope of this? So we have 3
Right.
people here, but it's a
Yes.
bigger group than that.
Yes.
So could you do a couple, I guess, pragmatic things for me? How many
Okay.
of these people are serving our students,
Right.
new professionals in the group? Where are they primarily located?
Yes.
And then we'll talk a little bit about the kind of actual day in and day out, events. But just give me a sense
Okay.
of the scope of the program.
Yes. So there's 12 success coaches, including Zach. And then we are located on the 3rd floor of the Learning Resource Center. So that is where our day-to-day happenings take place. So we already have a lot of students that know about us, and we've already been meeting with a lot of students. So that's been great so far in terms of students knowing who the success coaches are and things like that.
And you've worked, and I'll let Chris get in here in a second, but as we started with, you started in admissions, then you've worked in student support. This is a pretty big increase of professional people, right? I mean,
Yes.
what this group looked like last year in September, a year ago
Yes.
today, and what it looks like now. Could you just give the audience a sense of what that has been like? I mean,
Yes.
because you were there and now you're still there, now you're in a supervisory role. Talk a little bit about the change. I'm just interested in
Yeah.
what that means.
So I started off in admissions, like you mentioned, and then Mary DeGraw was actually my mentor. So I know you talked about her
DeGraw.
earlier.
Exactly.
She helped me get more into the retention side. And so I was able to establish relationships with students in that capacity. And now with working with the success coaches, it has been very energetic. There's a lot of movement going on the 3rd floor compared to before. And it's been great. The students have been praising a lot of the success coaches and their efforts. So it's been amazing. A lot of energy. It's been challenging as well in this new position, but it's been an amazing challenge, and I think that's been the greatest part of it all. So.
Okay, so I think I'm trying to still visualize what happens all the time. So we know where you're located, but we don't know what you do all day long. So maybe I'll just ask, anybody can answer this question, but Elizabeth, so what's a typical day like for you now?
So a typical day, we do a lot of outreach to students, as well as I think of ourselves, I use a lot of analogies, like little firefighters on the front lines, because we receive a lot of frantic emails for stuff that we may know from our experiences aren't like big things, but for the students, it's about respecting and validating their feelings and empowering them and giving them the skills to navigate those issues. So sometimes we get small requests, and sometimes they're big things that you're like, wow, I never thought I would have to face this scenario, but here we are, let's get through it. And so we kind of just give them the tools they need to navigate that kind of college life. And so day in, we're answering emails, meeting with students, we do virtual, in person, as well as sometimes decompress with one another, just to make sure that we are giving what's best for the student, the best advice. We're all very competent, I would say, and capable, and so we like to say, hey, what would you have done in this scenario? Or what resources do you think would be helpful for this? So we're a good team.
So either of you, anything to add to that in terms of what an average week or average day looks like?
Yeah, every day is, there's that component that stays the same, but every day is also different, which I love, different challenges and successes and stuff like that keeps everything interesting. And we are up in our space, but we also try to be present to the students outside on campus. So you'll see us in our red Success Coach shirts
Yes, we have
at
seen
any
you a lot.
event,
Yeah,
at any
we
event
have.
we
Oh,
can
we
possibly be at. We were at Wellness Fair, we were at the New Flyer Registration Day, we were at the Student Activities Fair. We're all over the place, so we like to get out too and show that we're present to the students.
Anything to add?
Yeah,
Zachary?
similar to what John and Elizabeth had said. That's kind of the beauty of our field and our position, is that every day is different and you never know kind of what you're going to walk into on a daily basis. Yes, we still abide by the course schedule and week 1 registration and kind of updating schedules, and then as the semester gets going, it's, you know, what support can we put in place from week 1, week 2, all the way through finals, midterms. So it's really, you know, different every single day, different every single week, but just having all of these extra coaches here now to just bounce ideas off of and work together to really kind of provide the best services for all of our students, not just our student athletes. That's why I think it's just such a huge benefit to our student population that there's all this added academic support for them to succeed.
Yeah, so I want to touch base on this a little bit, just because again it's a new program. So because you said the word all students, so I want to just you focus primarily on student athletes. I know that the new students, first year students direct from high school, were exposed to all of the success coaches kind of as they came onto campus, as they started with their cornerstone classes. But this applies to all of our 3,000 full-time undergraduate students. So how do those other students, so it feels like the exposure was, I don't want to say easy, but relatively easy for the new students, because there was a set, you have to be here on these days, and now we're going to introduce you to your success coach. So here's Elizabeth, blah, blah, blah. But then I'm a junior, I'm majoring in accounting, I've been here for 3 years. They never had a success coach before. So tell me about how that process has worked. I mean, Elizabeth said we send a lot of emails out, but how does that junior find out, oh, now I have Elizabeth as my success coach?
Yes, so a lot of it is also working with the faculty mentors as well, and having that connection with them and helping bridge that student over to us. But the other thing is that we're kind of embedding it as part of like the culture, and so students are talking about it, and that's really helping us in getting the word out. And juniors and seniors already know that there's a success coach available to them and is able to assist them.
That's great.
You know, you mentioned the faculty mentors. I think we might have a graphic about that kind of helps us visualize like what the faculty mentors do and what the student success coaches do, and maybe Liseth, you could talk us through that.
Yes, so one of the ideas is, as I mentioned earlier, is that students have a lot of different choices. So even though it's an exciting time for them, we want to make sure that the success coach, as well as a faculty mentor, are able to support the students navigate the college experience in various different ways. So as you can see with the graphic, the success coach and the faculty mentor are working together throughout the 4 years. But there's the academic support piece, which is a big piece, but there's also the personal well-being, so connecting them to resources that we have on campus. For example, the Wellness Center, there's Timely Care, which is something new that we have. Letting the students know about these resources that we have. Also, there's career and professional guidance, so working with the Career Services Office. We've been giving them tools like having the students do surveys and helping them kind of discern a little bit more about their career goals. And then we have purpose and calling. So a lot of that is kind of finding what is their vocation. So we have like the Discover workshops that we offer that students can take, as well as we try to guide them by asking them questions and helping them try to figure out what are their values, what are their interests, kind of helping them navigate by themselves, but with our guidance, a little bit more about where it is that they want to be. But it's something that they also have to discern for themselves. So we try to guide that. And then there's the course selection, which is a big piece as well in helping them find classes and kind of talking about the different classes and the different offerings and things like that.
So you touched on something that, you know, I know we talk about a lot. I always find it really interesting to try to figure out, and I'm just curious what y'all think about this. But the difference between really helping somebody. I mean, a lot of what you just described is sort of really, really important resources and technical information that students, if they have it, will be much more likely to be successful. So if they know how to contact the Health and Wellness Center, if they know how to access tutoring support and so on. In terms of the role of the success coach, but even it's maybe even a bigger question, like any of us, supporting students, like how much of it is helping them learn how to do some of this by themselves, or knowing how to do it the next time without your help, and how much of it is really just kind of solving problems or what have you. And I don't know. John, can you answer it?
I think what we're talking about here is empowerment.
Yeah.
Giving students the information and the resources and the tools so they can do it on their own. And that's a big part of our role here.
Yeah, and giving them, empowerment means giving them confidence.
Yes, oh yes.
To be able to succeed on their own. Yeah.
So I think there's another group of people that feels really important. So we've talked about the faculty mentors. We've talked about the students themselves and all of you as success coaches. And the other group feels like all the other colleagues that all of us have, all of our other employees,
Yeah.
which are financial aid people, people in health and counseling, people in training, people that offer yoga, all these. So tell me about how, I guess two things. How does somebody else on campus get to know what it is that success coaches do? How's that happening? And just maybe you can talk about, because I know, again, Zachary, you started a little bit earlier, but most of the success coaches started in July, and they had to get to know the campus, the structure, as well as our community. We have 620 some employees. So talk to me a little bit about that process, and how those relationships are going. How has it been for, any one of you to I feel like I need to learn a little bit more about financial aid and those people, and I want them to know that they can reach out to me, and I need to be able to reach out to them. But again, there's, I don't know how many offices, 50 different offices on campus that people have to get to know, and anybody can respond to that.
Well, I'll take it if you don't mind, but I have to say, first off, starting, Liseth and Stephanie did a wonderful job training us, coordinating all these people from different departments to come and speak with us about the departments. And we did a lot of engagement with those different faculty members, and I think that's one of the keys to what we're trying to do, along with, we do this with the students as well, but just getting out there, going to events where we can, and introducing ourselves. We're pretty outgoing people, and I feel like that's a good skill for this job. And so we really, we try to, get out wherever we can to talk with faculty and just connect and reach out and say, hey, if you need anything, we're here. If you have a student, you can direct us. We've done things like we presented for the biology. A biology instructor wanted us to do a little presentation for their classes. So anything we can, we'll try to get in there and introduce ourselves and build that connection.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, so I second that. I'm with Lisette and Stephanie Annavold-Maester put together a great extensive training program this summer, and the benefit of me was that starting in April, I kind of got to get my feet a little bit wet with the resources and the processes that Lewis and the student athletes go through, and then seeing firsthand, being a part of the 11 new success coaches, being a part of their training, and kind of just seeing all of these things come into play, and just how beneficial that was, not just for me, but for all of our success coaches. It was just great to be a part of, and we'll talk about how each success coach kind of works with their own colleges, and they kind of are bridging that gap between the faculty mentors, between the juniors and seniors, and really trying to be present on campus so that students know. They'll hear us if they come to the third floor. They'll feel that energy, and they'll be awakened with all of this energy for education. But I think we're doing a great job on getting our voices and our names out there within all of the colleges here.
And the faculty have been great about reaching out to us as well.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
they know how to find us in DegreeWorks. They'll track us down, and if they want to talk about a student concern or anything like that, they've been doing a great job. So I have to commend them for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think all our coaches feel similar. Stephanie, Lisette, Tony Fitzpatrick, they've been wonderful with the training. Everyone we've met through the training, and even after that when we've had to reach out to other departments, they've been wonderful. I've enjoyed meeting everyone, especially Jet.
Our dog,
Yes. So yes, kudos to them.
That's awesome.
So Seth, can you maybe talk about the training a little bit? You know, how did it, I guess we've heard that there's been a lot of introductions to different offices on campus. What else, what else was
there were
happening?
some fun things that we did. So Dr. Kelleher from the chemistry department invited us over.
Is there an explosion in the future of the story?
I'm sure there is.
Always.
Almost guaranteed.
He invited us over to do an experiment.
Oh, cool.
So he invited us into the lab,
Nice.
and we
That's
had a
awesome.
lot of fun with that. We actually went to go meet all the Christian brothers at the
Oh, cool.
LaSalle
Great.
House.
That's right. I remember
And
that.
kind of learn more about all the things that they do and how they're part of the Lewis University community. So that was really fun and just very eye-opening. We asked them a lot of very unique questions that they were able to answer for us. So we really tried to find what are the things that we felt would be necessary, all the tools, all the key departments that would be necessary for them to know more about, so that they could really be successful in their role.
That's really cool.
So.
You know,
And
it
that-
reminded me.
Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead. No,
we
go
can't
ahead.
see each other's faces.
Yeah, I know.
so
It's not
we
the
usually
same.
have a lot of
Usually, yeah,
negotiation around
exactly.
eye contact around this. But so what I said when we visited you, I remember this just reminded me of it, is that like the two of us have this incredible privilege that we get to talk to people every week on this show, and we get to walk around campus and learn what this office is doing, or visit this group of students or whatever. And I feel like your job is similar in a way, like where you have this license. Obviously, I know you have a job to do, you have a lot of work to do, you have a huge portfolio of students to be attending to, but you also have the need to learn about, like you said, Liseth, all the inner workings of so many departments on campus, and that seems really fun to me.
Yeah. Very.
And so valuable for our students. I think, we try to do that, I think, through Cornerstone and through orientation. But I think that value, as Chris just said, about your ability to kind of get around campus and have those relationships, that students should know, I can go meet with and they know where to send me, right? They might be able to solve it themselves,
Yeah.
but if it's a little more difficult, they'll know that this person over here, and they can get on the phone or send a quick, email, and can you wait for, Sue, who's coming over because she wants to set up an appointment because she's feeling a little ill and she needs to come to the health. But even that sense of being, it's a big place, I don't know where to go as a student.
Right.
They have one place that they can go, and then it spans out from that, because they might forget what, they were introduced that or did the scavenger hunt, but that was week 1, now it's week 6, and now where do I really go? So I think that's great that you have all those relationships and keep building on them week over week.
Yeah. This may sound like a leading question, so I'm trying to be careful about how to ask it, but tell, it is really unique, like somebody said already, to have so many people coming into an office or a unit of the campus at one particular time in history. So I'm just curious about how the community has built together, and what's it like being around so many people who are going through basically the same thing that you're going through, as you come to know, working at Lewis and to be a part of this group. Elizabeth.
Well, I think it's been a great experience. I think there's something to just coming together new and building something kind of from the ground up. So being a part of that inaugural team and knowing that everyone has these great experiences and knowledge that they're bringing to the table, and those skills kind of lend themselves to this program. It's just very exciting, and I think we play off of one another really well. And I don't know how y'all did it, but we're very compatible, and we rely on each other extensively. So it's just, the excitement draws me to it. I'm not sure how else. What do y'all have to say about that?
Go.
I was gonna say, I feel the exact same way. I don't know how they did it, but we are like a little family now.
And I would say also just extremely diverse group of people,
Yes.
too. So it's not, they didn't do it by hiring a bunch of people who are extremely similar. It's really different backgrounds, different professional histories, But I'm sorry to cut you off,
No,
John,
that's
but,
okay.
yeah.
Like I said, it's just been wonderful. And like kind of Elizabeth said too, we rely on each other. Like we'll have weekly meetings and we'll talk about what works, right? And what we can do in a specific situation. Oh, I didn't think of that, so thank you for helping me. So the student has one success coach, but that success coach has 11 other success coaches that are like their success coach and vice versa.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. I will try in the next 2 weeks to get, because I kind of want to be up there. I've been up to the space, but not while it's active with students in it. So
Yeah.
my sense is there's got to be a buzz up there
Yeah.
now at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon or something like that. So yeah, it's great. I think it's really exciting. Really exciting.
So the last, we're getting a little close on time, but the last kind of topic I wanted to make sure we talked about is sort of why we do this in the first place. And and I guess I'll start with you, Liseth, and
Yeah.
we can all 6 of us can probably contribute to this. But what's the goal of creating the Flyer Success Network?
The goal is really to have someone at the university that's going to support them throughout their whole college journey, but also not only through their challenges and not being just reactive, but really being proactive. And then also, again, not only through their challenges, but through their victories too. Because there's, again, ups and downs in college, and there's a lot of choices that they have to make, and sometimes they don't know who to turn to make some of those choices. And some of them are big choices, like figuring out what program they want to be in, or maybe they are in a program and maybe they've decided that they don't want to be part of that program anymore. And so just having someone that consistently is there for them, I think is a huge part of it. And then also being able to connect them with so many other resources and figuring out, okay, what is it that the student needs? What is it that the student wants and values, and trying to connect them to those resources.
And I presume that the feeling of what it's like to have somebody care about what my needs are is a really good feeling.
Yes.
In addition to finding out the answer to the question,
Yeah.
about what you need, but just having somebody listen to you and recognize what the issue is that you have that day or what have you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that's really impressed me, and I just, it was in some of those graphics, but I just want to maybe name it out loud. And this is everything from Chris and his leadership role, to Dr. Shackmuth, to Tony, to you and Stephanie, and then obviously to the group of coaches, is that there's this layering, kind of this, whether you think of it like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or, we could go through any number of theories, but it's not, one way of thinking about success would be, I graduate, right? And
Right.
that's success,
That's one measure.
right?
Yeah.
That's
But
very
it's
important.
more than that, right? And it's very important, right?
Yes.
That's the baseline, right? I get my 4 years, I get my 126 credits, I get my degree, et cetera. But then there's this whole other layer that you are working on, which is, and what is it like to live a meaningful life?
Yeah.
And how do I create friendships while I'm here so that I'm not lonely? Because there's a lot of lonely people out there. We have
Yeah.
mental health issues. And how do I figure out what club to join, or whether to join a club, or should I be a walk-on athlete? Or, there's just, like you said, there's all these different layers of decision. And success in college is both essentially graduating, and it's a lot more than that. And I love that you have, and it was in that graphic before, you have these layers of what success looks like. And part of it is the conversation that I feel like what would success look like for you? This is being asking,
Yeah.
Jeff, who's a first-year student, or maybe even a junior, Elizabeth or Sally wants to know, like, what does success look like for you? You're a junior now. Do you feel like things are going well? And I love that layering, because that's part of, we're a LaSallian school. Part of being a LaSallian school is thinking about vocational ideas, which is not becoming necessarily a brother,
Right.
or it's about thinking about how does the work that I'm going to do give my life meaning. And that is, as you say, these are some deep questions, but also the challenges of, and how do I balance out that I have to work 2 jobs and my younger siblings who are still at home with my parents are going through all of these things, and my grandmother is going through this thing, and I'm trying to study. How do I do that, right? There's just so much to life, I guess. And these people they're becoming adults, and having all of you around them to help them through that, that's success at a totally different level than just getting my credits.
Yeah.
And anybody that wants to come, but I just think it's exciting that from Chris's leadership all the way through to your leadership and all the success coaches, we've created a program that thinks in those ways as opposed to just, I guess, purely transactional. You get your credits, you graduate, which again, very important, but not the whole.
We were just having this discussion before, we came over talking about what success meant to us, and we talked about these objective measures like retaining students and getting them to graduation, but also on a subjective level, what do they value? What do they see in themselves? And kind of getting them, when we're questioning them, to answer in a way that, how do I want to say this, is what they really want to say, not what they expect us to hear. So that's part of building this relationship and getting to know them and really helping them achieve their own brand of success. That's my cliche little tagline I like to use.
Their own brand of
Yeah.
success.
Yes.
That's
Nice.
great.
I like it. Do either of you have anything?
I think something that's really great about the consistency of the coach all 4 years is that, yes, there are those objective success measures of success, but then those subjective ones can change. But since you have the same coach all 4 years, they can, kind of guide you, right? We can kind of guide the students with those changes that might come.
Yeah.
That's true.
Zach, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think just to reiterate kind of what we've all said as success coaches, but on the athletic side, just being housed under academic services and within the Flyer Success Network, but working with student athletes and working with our athletic department, I think it's my personal goal and mission to kind of start those conversations early of helping them guide themselves to their mission, finding themselves their identity outside of athletics, utilizing what they want to accomplish within their sport and within their academic field, but really kind of having that mentorship role, something that, in my college experience I didn't necessarily have. And so that's, my ultimate mission and my opportunity to give back to their student athlete experience and really start those conversations early so that they do have more holistic success in college and not just transactional, done with my sport, done with my degree, but really utilize what they have on campus and all of these resources and all of these people that are here for them and us as educators. That's ultimately why we do this job.
Wonderful. So it seems like our goal is for our individual students who go to Lewis to have to really be on a transformational journey where they discover their purpose, they succeed in all of the academic areas and all of the ways that y'all just talked about, and they have both the support from you as well as faculty, as well as many other offices on campus who are there for students in those key moments. But I also love that you're talking about challenging them and asking them difficult questions and pushing them a little bit to be reflective at different stages in their transformational journey toward this. And then the ultimate goal is to have that meaningful professional life that they've deeply thought about before they get to that first professional experience or whatever. So so it starts really well when they graduate. Okay, so we're done. Thank you. We're over time. Thank you so much for your time today, for the work that you are doing. It's really beautiful to see it happening and to see you out there on campus all the time, making connections. And thank you, of course, for your leadership, Liseth.
Thank you so much.
Stephanie and Tony for yours
Thank
as
you.
well. It's a great program and it's going great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Chris. So as we wrap up the show, I just want to, again, remind people we do have the Visit Day this weekend. We have the South Hall today. We have Leroy's party today. And, more broadly, I just want to invite every student that sees this now, or we have a lot of people who watch it next week, or over the weekend or whatever, or skim through it. take advantage of the Success Network. You know, these people are here because they want to help you. When you get the email, respond to it, stop up to the 3rd floor, set up an appointment. And we just wish everybody a wonderful rest of the week, relaxing weekend, I hope. Many blessings to you and your family. Have a great week.